The next thing I want to talk about is probably, I don't know if you'll agree with me, but Marlon Vera beat Davey Grant. I disagreed with the scoring. I actually thought Davey Grant
He
won
beat him,
that.
but it was close because Davey Grant had that first round for sure.
I thought the first 2 rounds went to Grant.
Right. Okay.
I think Cheeto won that first round, and it could have been a 10-8.
Really?
That third round could have been a 10-8.
The third round could have been.
But for Vera, because
Yeah.
based off how Grant was getting pieced up on the ground, right?
Yeah.
And the elbows that he was doing, but I think it could have been a draw.
Well, Grant had a significantly higher output in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that first round was probably a 10-8, maybe a 10-9, but it was close. I don't think it would have been. Because Davey Grant was fucking really good at his leg kicks, man. He was throwing all his leg kicks. He was switching his stance a lot. He comes from that really good kickboxing background, and he just seemed like the first round was going towards him. And then the second round was when the pace changed, and then Cheeto Vera was, he was getting up there. He was definitely picking a lot more shots, and he started to cut him up with those elbows, and then I think that's kind of why
the damage.
Yeah. That maybe it was less shots, but I felt like Cheeto's shots were kind of doing more damage.
In my eyes, I felt that Davey was controlling the fight a lot more in the second round.
Yeah.
And had more significant strikes than Cheeto. In that third round, I think that was all Cheeto, and I think you could make the suggestion that was a 10-8, right?
Yeah.
That means if Davey Grant wins the first 2 rounds 10-9s,
yeah,
and Cheeto wins the last round at 10-8, that's a draw.
Yeah.
I think the reason why they didn't want to go to a draw is those guys have already fought before, and Grant beat Cheeto. So now they're 1-1 now, right? But I'll be honest, I expected Vera to win, but based on the scoring, I disagree. I think it was a draw.
Yeah.
I don't think Cheeto won that fight.
Well, I still think Cheeto's very, very underrated. I still think...
I don't think he's that underrated.
Okay, I'll retract that statement. I think it's because I was just coming to his mind.
He should have more respect on his name.
Exactly. That's a better way to put it, because he fought Aldo, and he kind of lost to Aldo, and it wasn't his best fight, and then he's been back and forth. He had that moment where he derailed Sean O'Malley, and then since then Sean O'Malley's trying to get everything back, coming back as much as he can. So I reckon Cheeto's definitely top 10 material.
But he's number 15 in the
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't think so. Davey Grant's not ranked.
Yeah.
And that I would argue that was a draw, and he's been beat by Grant before.
Yeah.
And I don't...
I still believe he can break into that top 10 though.
Maybe, but just the very bottom. I don't see him cracking.
Scrape that 10th,
I don't see
place.
him cracking top 5.
Yeah, I don't see him cracking top 5 because the bantamweight divisions is now just on an absolute stroll. I mean, it's like it's come back from being the bottom barrel, and now it's up there. I don't think the bantamweight division's ever been this stacked.
It's way more explosive. I just don't see... I don't see Vera competing with like the Corey Sandhagens and the TJ Dillashaws and things like that. You know what I mean? Like they're not even... They are all... Obviously, TJ's an ex-champion, and Corey Sandhagen, you could make the suggestion that he could be next-level champion material. But Aljamain Sterling, Peter Yan, Cody Garbrandt, things like that, Rob Font, do you really think that he could compete?
No.
And Jose Aldo as well, they do really think...
No, because Aldo was, what was featherweight champion, and he comes down to bantamweight, and he doesn't find his way with bantamweight. He's trying to now grasp the waters. He got a little bit of success against Marlon Vera, and then, is very, very active in it. Because, he, what's it called? He fought Marlon Morales, and Dana was positive that Aldo won against Marlon Morales.
I thought he could have.
Yeah, I thought it was close.
I thought it was very close. Razor thin close, but it felt like Aldo edged it.
Which reminds me, I think that's what we should do now. I feel like Aldo should run it back with Morales. Because Morales has lost quite a few fights lately.
Marlon has a fight coming up against... I'm blanking on the name. anyway,
okay.
but Marlon's already got a fight coming up, I believe.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is the bantamweight division is too.
Oh, Marab.
Right. Oh, there you go. Sorry.
That's a cool fight.
Yeah, there you go. That is a good
cool
fight.
I think Marab beats him.
That's the next thing. I don't feel like Marlon Vera could hang with Marab either.
No,
and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, well, I kind of feel like Marlon Vera will sort of fluctuate around those outside of the top 10.
I just don't. I think you're right. Just fluctuating outside the top 10, up and down, but I don't see him. Yeah,
Not in the top 10 anytime soon.
It was a weird performance for me because I was expecting something really big off a rematch off. Yeah. It was just a weird fight for me to watch.
To get into the top 10, you have to be clear cut on why you deserve, right? Mm-hmm. You can't be close.
No,
you can't just like be there by a thin margin.
Split decisions.
Yeah, you have to be there by knockouts, submissions, TKOs, all that sort of stuff that proves that you are clearly better than your opponent and clearly better than the rankings that you're in right now. So